Hello everyone. Sorry if you can hear a fan blowing on me. It is so hot today and I was just outside. I need it. There's no way I can get through this video if I don't have it on me. So I wanted to do a review. I don't do reviews a whole lot on this channel, but I would maybe like to start doing them a little bit more. And the product I'm going to be talking about today is Thinx period panties, Thinx undies, whatever you want to call them, the period proof panties that you can use as a replacement for some of your pads, tampons, whatever. Use it in conjunction with menstrual cups. We'll get into all of that today. We'll also kind of contextualize who I am as a person when it comes to my period. So you can decide if this is a product that you feel like you want to invest in. And it is an investment. Is it an investment? I bought 5 pairs of Thinx with my own money, which was really expensive up front. You get certain amounts of money off if you buy 3 all at the same time, and then even more money off if you buy 5 at the same time. And I figured, what the heck, I'm gonna go all in. I think the site has a decent return policy if I remember reading correctly. So I was like, if they don't work, I'll give them back. It's no big deal. But the short of it, if you are not interested in sitting through this whole video, is that I do like these, but I will get into why I like them in more detail as we proceed. But first, some context for just like who I am and what like period products I like. This is a subject I have not talked about on this channel, but I think we are all mature adults here and we don't have to be weird about this, so no disrespect in the comments. That would be greatly appreciated. We all have different bodies, prefer to do different things with our bodies, especially when it comes to our periods, so let's be respectful of each other, all right? I'm the type of person who actually does not like using tampons at all. I think I used them a couple times in high school, so I'm more of a pad person. I know some people really like to shame people for using pads, which is no bueno in my book. I think we all are just trying to get through life, and to shame someone for using a pad is so silly to me. But anyway, I know some people think it's like sitting in your own filth, but I just like having my period come out of me. I know some people prefer just to keep it in them. Totally cool, whatever you're into. With that in mind, I have been interested in trying to find a more sustainable alternative for my period. Obviously, pads are not very sustainable. Even if you're getting organic ones, it's still just a ton of waste. We all know that. I don't need to blab about this to you. I tried looking into cups, but again, I don't know, something about inserting things for my period into me, I don't know. I'm not there for tampons. Maybe one day I could get used to using a cup, but for the time being, I just wanted a period product that would be outside of my body. So I looked at reusable pads and then period panties, and Thinx is the brand that I feel I am targeted at the most with my social media. I'm actually gonna turn this fan off, I'm too cold now. Thinx are just the ones that pop up for me the most, so I figured these are the ones I will purchase. There are other brands out there, just so you know, but Thinx is the one that caught my eye. I think they have cool marketing. I think they are working to be trans inclusive, which is important to me. I think that's really awesome. Let's get into the actual things that I bought. I bought, like I said, 5 different pairs. I kept 4 bits of the packaging just to kind of show you. They come in really, really cute packaging. I know maybe that's not important to everyone, but I really am a pretty aesthetic person. I like attractive things in my life. I like pretty things. I like good designs. So the different kinds I bought 2 pairs of the black cheekies, which look like this. They have a slightly higher cut on the back. They've got a nice little lace trim, which is a good detail in my opinion. Then I got 2 different pairs of the hip huggers, which I would argue is their most popular cut. Again, super cute packaging. I got the black ones and I got the forest green ones. A lot more coverage on the back, as you can see, and then it's got a thicker band at the top that's kind of got that same detailing that the cheekies have, just more of it, and it doesn't have any around the legs. And then the green ones are super cute. They look like this, exactly the same, but the inside is black, as you can see, so you don't really have to worry about staining too much. And then the final pair that I got was the black thong, just because I am typically a thong wearer in most aspects of my life. I wear a lot of high-rise denim, so I thought this would be a nice thing to have on that very last day of my period so I can kind of feel like my normal self again. It looks just like any other thong, and it's got that same band that the other underwear in the line has, which I think is really, really cute. I know some people have complained that this does not really stand the test of time super well. I've only used this for one cycle, so I can't say too much about that yet, but I am very particular about how I take care of my lingerie and panties and things like that. I'm usually like bras and stuff I wash by hand. Undies I will wash through like Delicates or through the Delicates setting on a washer, and then I hang pretty much everything to dry. I hang like all of my clothes to dry, just normal clothes. I really like my clothes to last a long time. I think that's a really important way that you can be sustainable, is not throwing everything in the dryer, but especially intimates and lingerie and stuff like that, always hang it to dry. But in case you're curious, the way Thinx advises you how to wash their panties, you basically wear them on your period and just let it flow, you know what I mean? And then when you're done wearing them, rinse them out in cold water, hang them up until you are ready to wash them normally in your washer, or you could wash them by hand with like a delicate sort of detergent, and then hang them to dry. Make sure you're not using any fabric softener that can mess with the technology in them, and I think that's it. But again, they will have a very detailed explanation of how to wash them when you purchase them. It's on the back and it's also on their website, so read through for yourself, and that's that. I find them pretty easy to take care of because it's how I take care of a lot of my clothes, but yeah, there you go. So now we will get into my experience with them. I kind of took notes throughout the week so I can stay organized and remember all of my thoughts. I usually start my period on a Wednesday. I'm on birth control, so I'm pretty aware of when my period is coming, and my periods are fairly regular. I wore a pair of the Cheekies Tuesday night because when I'm going to bed, I typically wear a pad the night before I'm going to start my period, just in case anything comes like when the clock strikes midnight, you know what I mean, on Wednesday night. But yeah, I had very minimal spotting overnight, and these worked really well, super comfortable to sleep in. I know some people have complained that they feel like this feels like a swimsuit. Maybe kind of. I think it just feels like a really luxe, high quality pair of underwear. So I like them. I think they're really soft, again, to sleep in. They're really comfortable. And since I wasn't really doing anything all the next day, I changed out of them at like 11:30 a.m. that next Wednesday. So they lasted a fairly decent amount of time. I got about 13 and a half hours of wear on that first like spotting day into my actual starting day of my period. So I think that's awesome. A note I want to make with the Cheekies though, because of all the pairs, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, the Cheekies are my least favorite. I think the cut is super cute, but functionality wise, there's something weird about the placement of the actual layers of like period absorbing fabrics that's in the crotch area. I feel like it doesn't go to the front of the vagina properly. So I experienced, if you know, whether I'm laying down when I sleep, kind of on my stomach, or even I noticed later on throughout the week I wore these again and I was just standing up working, because I am working a retail job until I moved to Minneapolis. When I'm just like on my feet for an extended period of time, I feel like it kind of leaks at the front a bit. Makes you super nervous if you're out and about. If you're just at home, it's not as big of a deal, but again, you probably are wearing these because you want to go out and about and live your normal life. It loses some points for me there. So that was something I noticed when wearing the Cheekies. So transitioning into my actual period, I put on a pair of the hip huggers at about 11:45 Wednesday night. So I was gonna wear them through the night and see how they hold up for a nice, you know, about 8-hour sleep shift. And I think they did really, really well. In my opinion, the hip huggers are their most popular style for a reason. Functionality wise, they do exactly what they claim to do. I was kind of shocked at how long I could wear the hip huggers and get away with it. I wore them all through the night, and I did decide to change into pads for Thursday just because that was the first day I was going to work that week, and I just wanted to use a product I was comfortable with and knew would work. But I am pretty confident if you are on, you know, a kind of heavy day, I do think you could get away with wearing the hip huggers for like 8 hours. If you're on kind of a normal day, I think you could wear them for like 10 hours was the max that I ended up wearing them later on in the week. So these are kind of magical in my opinion. They claim to hold 2 tampons worth of blood, so there you go. Then I put on these hip huggers, the black ones, at 9 a.m. on Friday to go to work, and I worked from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. that day. And then I also wore these through the entire night. That is what I would consider a regular day of my period. That like second day is usually my heaviest day, but I don't think by any means I get a super heavy flow. I think I definitely have a heavy day, but that heavy day I wore pads. And so to think that of my 5-day period, there was only 1 day I had to wear pads, that eliminates so much waste right there, which is so awesome. And if I could get myself to use a cup in the future on that heavy day, that's probably the only day I would even have to insert something into me. So that's super awesome as well. But yeah, when I was done with the hip huggers, I went back to a pair of the cheekies, and I put on the cheekies. I put on the cheekies Saturday at 9 a.m. and wore those to work through the night as well. But again, I struggled with the positioning of these. That was the day I was talking about how at work I was on my feet and I was like super nervous. It was almost leaking out the front a little bit. But since that day was a lot less heavy, it wasn't as bad as that first time I wore them, especially wearing them to sleep. And I actually ended up wearing these to sleep again that night and didn't have any leaking issues. Like I have white sheets. I didn't see anything on my sheets. So they do a pretty good job of containing the mess. Finally, I wore the thong on Sunday, but by the time that day rolled around, I was barely spotting in this thing. But it was nice to have that reassurance that I wasn't going to like, oh, they're inside out, that I wasn't going to ruin like a normal pair of underwear, and then I didn't have to use either an entire pad or a liner or anything like that. So these are super awesome. If you are like a tampon user, these would be a great replacement for liners and things like that, because I think they serve the job really well. But with all of that said, let me get into some other things I just noticed while I was using them. I didn't experience any like super wet feeling when I was wearing them. I know some people are hesitant to use period panties because they feel like it's going to be or they feel like it'll be similar to using a pad. It's definitely way different than using a pad. They absorb the blood really fast, and I feel really comfortable wearing them throughout the day. I don't feel like I'm sitting in my own filth or something like that, or sitting in my blood and I'm feeling all wet and gross. You can tell when it's time to change out of these in the same way you could tell it's time to change a pad or a tampon. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're a really cool product. And again, this video was not sponsored. These were not sent to me. I bought them with my own money. Even if they were sent to me, though, I hope you guys know I would be completely honest. But I have to give these like an A, not an A+, because of the cheekies. I think they serve their purpose decently on certain days of the period, but they are the least perfect cut of all of these. I think everything else served its function really well, especially the hip huggers. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, maybe I forgot to mention something. I know I was a little bit all over the place. I tried to keep on track with my notes, but I feel like those made me ramble a little bit. Leave any questions you have down below. I would be happy to answer them, and I would be happy to review other products you guys are curious about in the future. So thank you all very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.